with our initial prayer. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a moment to do a deep breathing, to balance our thoughts, to calm our minds, to understand that this is the time of the day that we take it for ourselves. That's the time of the day that we separate from everything. That's our medicine. That's the time of the day that we use to improve ourselves. And of course, let's not forget to thank first God for this opportunity, our big brother Jesus Christ, governor of this earth, and all the good spirits around us. They come to this moment to learn, to set up good intentions in our mind, so we can do this study properly and always on the right way. Once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. Let's begin our study of the day. Okay, let's share the screen.
Lolo, you have let me to share.
Oh, so how should I do that? Share screen?
I think it has Carolina's gonna be there and explaining. I don't know how
Okay,
to.
I did already. Multiple participants can share the screen. Try now.
There you go. Yes, it worked. Oh, I thought it was here. What is it? Oh, it is. From the last week, we should start it on question 10, right?
I'm not. Did we do 9? I remember we did 8, but yeah, I think it's the 10th run, right? I think you finished with the 9th one.
Attributes of divinity. Okay. So you explain again.
Okay, so let's start question number 10, attributes of divinity. So question number 10 is humanity capable of comprehending the essential nature of God? And the answer of the spirits are no. Human beings lack the sense required to comprehend it. So Jimmy, I'm gonna throw the hot potato on you. Would you like to discuss a little bit about number 10 for us? Or what are you understanding?
Are the questions going to be on the screen?
Yes.
Oh, is it not on the screen right now?
No, not for me.
Are you on the phone or computer?
I'm on the computer.
Oh, weird. It's supposed to be.
Is everybody else?
It's on the screen. Maybe you have
like,
to.
On a book that I have, the question's a little bit different. That's weird, right?
In English?
Uh-huh. It says, I think it's the same meaning though, but it says, can human beings fathom God's innermost nature? Well, it's just the same, different words, same question, sorry.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Jim, how can you stop sharing and try again?
No. I think he has to click where it says speaker view, maybe on top.
Maybe yeah, the way that you were in the viewer, maybe on the view of like everybody, you have to pick the way you wanted to view the screen.
If you have an option on top that says view options, you can click on side-by-side mode, and that should help.
Is he in a computer?
Yeah, he's in the computer.
But I think it's automatically, no, that shows your page.
Yeah, he's trying to find out there.
Okay.
So you read and you explain.
Oh, okay.
I think Jim got disconnected.
For me, he's still here.
No, he's here. I think you lost him on the page.
Yeah, he's gonna come back.
Oh.
Got so excited when Thiago threw the question to him.
Ou talvez ele
Okay,
there we go.
There you go.
You on mute.
Got the questions.
Now you can see it?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so let's do this again because I did it the wrong way according to my girlfriend. So
So he want to read the question that
You
everybody
can-
else answer? No, 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 no.
you can clearly see who makes the rules in the house, right? So I'm gonna read it again, okay, Jimmy? So question number 10 is humanity capable of comprehending the essential nature of God? And the answer is no. Human beings lack the sense required to comprehend it. So what I can understand from that, of course, we're still in the level of progress. We actually didn't reach the what they call divine point yet of pure spirits yet. We're far, far away from that. So I don't believe, and I actually believe that we don't have enough intelligence to even comprehend God's actions. Imagine what is God. So I think that's what question number 10 was trying to say it. I believe they're going to explain a little better on the next ones, but yeah.
Yeah, let's jump for the question 11, number 11, because I think that's going to wrap it up what he's trying to explain here. And by the way,
The long one.
the answer is short, but like the Kardec's comments long, but in my opinion, there is the best answer from the whole entire book. You're gonna know why. Okay, number 11. Will you humans ever be able to understand the mystery of divinity? The Spirit's answer. Humans will see and understand God when their spirits are no longer obscured by matter and when they have come closer by striving for perfection. Then Kardec gave his comments. The inferiority of human faculties make it possible for human beings to fully grasp the essential nature of God. In the early stage of life, humans often confuse the creator with the creator and attribute the imperfection of the latter to God. As the moral sense of human beings becomes more developed, they are able to penetrate the nature of things more deeply. They will be able to form a true, more confirmed and rational idea of God, even though it will always be incomplete. Sorry, that's not the answer to what I'm meaning, that is the best one, but it's coming later.
It's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one, actually, but it's not the one that I'll mention. Well, clearly, summarize this. When you're trying to understand God, what we do in general as human beings, humans, as he said here, often confuse the creator with the creator. So the thing is, let me quit this. We always, when you're trying, anything that you try in life to understand has to be measurable, has to be in the fact of matter, has to be something that you can see, that you can touch, to be easier for our minds, our thoughts to understand. However, God is not a matter. God is not a
thing.
It is a thing. Actually, God is not a person. It's a thing that we don't know. That's why it's complicated to understand. But further in the questions, the spirits is going to give a great explanation why you don't need to focus on that, but come later. So anybody wanted to comment this question?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I think in part, it's referring that we cannot understand through the intellect, that it is beyond our intellect and our ideas. But I'm wondering if if we can get closer to the mystical experience of, and I use mystical for a lack of a better word, different states of meditation, different when the energies in someone's body changes, and many techniques I think exist how to sensitize oneself, not to make anything happen, but sensitizing oneself so the faculties can be affected in a different way.
I would say enhanced.
Enhanced, thank you. But
Like the matter, what he is referring to, which is our body itself, he actually makes this a little difficult. Doesn't make it impossible, but makes it a little difficult. So that's why when you disincarnate and you don't have this whole shield of matter, on top of your spirit and your pure spirit, you have a better understanding what is the spiritual life. I wouldn't say God, but what is a spiritual life means.
True. Oh, Robbie's in the house. Hello, Robbie.
Observation.
Hey,
Robbie's in the post.
I hear a voice, it's communication.
hi.
From the observation post.
Yeah.
It's Robbie. He's from he's in a different plane and he's coming.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, you just started, Rob. We're actually going to jump for a question. Well, you pick somebody, you do it.
Rob, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we just did 11. Do you think you can do number 12 for us?
Yeah, sure. 12. If we cannot comprehend the essential nature of God, can we grasp an idea of some of God's perfections? Answer, yes. Some of them. Human beings understand them better as they rise above matter. They catch glimpses of them through thought.
That's what you said, Jamie.
What do you think, Rob? Do you think you can break that down for us a little bit? What do you understand?
Yeah, well, because the material reality, its source is the spiritual reality, which ultimately is God. So in order to better comprehend God, you have to be in a more spiritual state, and so it makes sense that the less bound to matter you are, the better you would be able to grasp and understand qualities of God, though only God can ever fully and completely understand God, because he's the only one that's fully and completely spirit in that way.
Yes,
So
true.
Yeah, I think it has to do like with our evolution, right? The more
Evolve.
we evolve, the less matter we're gonna be, and it has all to do with that. I mean, all these questions, they seem so small, but at the same time, there's so much to talk about. And it's the question 10 and 12, it's almost like discouraging, like, oh my God, how long do I need? How long am I gonna have to
So by the
be
end
studying to get in?
of this chapter, you're gonna see how long you're gonna need.
Yeah.
That was the best answer that I'm talking about it. But what caught my attention in this question is, yes, you guys can understand some of them, but to really understand, that's gonna take time. You can catch glimpses of them through thought, so not through material. That's a very important thing to understand. Not through the life that we can see, but it's through the life that we can through the life that we can feel. It's more about that.
Yeah.
Clementina, do you want to read 13?
We say that God is eternal, infinite, unchangeable, immaterial, unique, all-powerful, supremely just and good. Is this not a complete impression of God's attributes? From your point of view, yes, because you think that you sum up everything in those terms. However, you must understand that there are things that transcend the intelligence of even the most intelligent human being, and that your language cannot express. Reasons tell you that God must possess all these qualities in the supreme degree, because if one of them were short or not possessed to an infinite degree, the Creator would not be superior to everything and everyone, and thus would not be God. To be above all things, God must have no variation and must have no conceivable imperfections. God is eternal. If God had a beginning, it either would have had to spring from nothing, or have been created by a being that existed before God. This is how we gradually arrived at the idea of infinity and eternity. So yeah, like it's
Okay,
what
Samantha,
we
Spanish is
is
all
there more?
is more,
Okay.
but this is Kardec's explanation. Do you want to just comment first, since it's long, the Spirit's answer?
Yeah, because like I was gonna say before, I mean it is so simple. What's God? God is eternal, infinite, unchangeable, and material. It's just God, right? So the Spirit is like, yeah, from your point of view, but there is more. There is definitely more. That even like they said, the most intelligent human being, it's very hard to express. But at the same time, it's so simple. It's God. What is
Yeah.
God? But you know, it's interesting to study this because you start digging into all these answers and all these explanations. It's something that seems so simple. You see that there is so much to talk about.
Definitely.
You want me to continue reading?
Yes, there you go.
God is unchangeable. If God were subject to change, the laws governing the universe would be unstable. So I think each phrase is talking about one of the things on one of the things on the question, right?
Yes,
Just,
there's
if you go up,
about
yeah, because it said God is eternal, yeah. So God is unchangeable. If God were subject to change, the laws governing the universe would be unstable. God is immaterial. God's nature is completely different from everything that we call matter. Otherwise, God would not be unchangeable. God would be subject to the transformation of matter. God is unique. If several gods existed, there would be neither unity in the plans of the universe, nor power in its organization. God is all-powerful because God is unique. Without supreme power, there would be something more powerful than or as powerful as God. The Creator would not have created everything, and those which God had not created would be the work of another God. God is supremely just and good. The great wisdom of the divine laws is clearly revealed in the smallest and the greatest things. This wisdom makes it impossible to doubt God's justice or goodness. Who am I to doubt them? Not. Is that all? Okay, on that one, right?
That is, yeah.
So very self-explained, I think. Each one of these paragraphs, it's a whole week of study, I think, because, like I said, you know, something that for us is like so simple. There's so much behind it.
I like it because that's a cycle, right? It's clearly a cycle. You know, God's unique, God's unchangeable because of this. God's unique, God's immaterial because of this. So, like you said, self-explanatory. But I
Yeah,
understand,
this is clearly Kardec, always with his explanations, right?
and I love it because, of course, we cannot understand what is God, but we can definitely understand what is not God. If I made myself clear.
Is it?
You know, I think it's easier to see and understand what not is God than what is God, you know?
Yeah, because
Yep.
here is the attributes that we know as in the high level that you can imagine it, what is God. Eternal, unchangeable, immaterial, unique, all powerful, supremely just and good. Boom. So put all these items in the most high level that you can imagine in that is God. So they're the most that you can understand. But further, yeah, it's gonna be that what Thiago said. Understand what is not God. If you can reverse this. Because if God is unchangeable, is a so is subject to change, something that it's all everything on the good side can change. We change. Material things change, but God's, so if you compare God to something that is changed, so you're gonna compare with something that we know. Immaterial, self-explanatory. So it doesn't subject to the transformation of matter. Unique for sure for all those things, all powerful, create everything, and supremely just and good.
That's the hardest one.
The greatest of divine laws and creative reveal in the smallest and the greatest things. The wisdom makes it impossible to doubt God's justice or goodness.
That's the hardest one, because when you start thinking, I'm doing some research just myself about pain and suffer. So when you start thinking about pain and suffer, and you read that one of the laws of God, that God is supremely just and good, you have a completely different point of view about pain and suffering. You know, because how can God can be in a very mature way of thinking, of course, how God can be good if I'm feeling pain. So it makes you like search inside yourself about like, okay, why am I feeling pain and what that pain is bringing to me? You know, then the discussion goes like that.
Yeah, that part that Thiago said, it's very interesting because you can start another argument like with atheist people and everything else, you know, can create another like I wouldn't say problem, but a lot of other questioning, which will be here like the rest of the week, right? But it's that one is it's not that it's tricky, but like it can be very more deep. You can go deeper on this part for sure.
But I'll give you a little spoiler. There's no way, like we saw yesterday, wasn't me, Haroldo said, there's no way that we can understand this part without understand and believe 100% that we are eternal beings.
Yeah.
Once you realize that you are eternal, that doesn't start in a crib and ends on a coffin, when you understand that we are eternal, then everything starts making more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're talking about like people that don't believe in God, I had this thought before and I thought, no, it's just explain that. No, it's not.
Yeah, no.
In general, people that don't believe in God for real, not the ones that make pretend, but the ones for real, there's all material side, and not say they're bad people. No, there's nothing related, nothing. Because you can be a good person, not believe in God, but that person don't believe in God, but just believe in some material things. There's not a way to start this conversation, because for them it's simple like that.
It's really hard.
It's just a matter, and that's it. Because I was watching this lecture, and this lady was saying, unless somebody that don't believe in God talk to you and ask for something, it's because they want in a certain, let's say, way to find answers. But normally they don't care. They don't want like, that's fine. The way it is, don't try to convince me that. And that's okay. But for people that believes in God, but believes that God punish, then you can start a conversation about that. Let's say this.
That's why I like the whole concept of karma, because it's almost, with karma, it's what one has done to oneself.
It
You
gives you a
know,
sense
like,
of responsibility. Yeah.
you know, it's a force or a reaction. So it's what one has inflicted on themselves in some way.
Sure.
And
But I still have a grievance with this amnesia. I want to know, where do I submit my grievance?
you know what the beauty of it, I think, about this, that you learn about God by love or pain. We have this saying in Portuguese too, and it's really, really true. You can end up learning about God. It's just a matter of time. But which one are you going to choose? Through pain or through the love? So.
But it doesn't mean that has to be in this life too. All right.
Carolzinha, would you like to read for us?
Oh, Thiago, you can skip me, please.
No problem. Who else we got? We have Lolo.
Esse é o
Lolo não
seu
leu ainda.
Okay, so pantheism 14. Is God a distinct being, or as some believe, the result of all the forces and intelligences of the universe combined? If it were the former, God would not be God, because the work of creation would be an effect and not the cause. God cannot be both the cause and effect. God exists. You cannot doubt this, and that is a crucial point. Do not try to go beyond that. I like this part. Do not try to go beyond that.
Okay, just a second. There's the answer that I'm saying. I love the answer. I love it. Just love it.
Do not get lost in a labyrinth from which you never find an exit. Trying to go farther will not make you any better. Instead, you would only increase your pride by causing you to believe that you know something, while in reality, you know nothing. Cast aside all these systems. You have enough to worry about that directly affects you, beginning with yourselves. Study your own imperfections so that you may shed them. This will be far more useful to you than any attempt to penetrate the impenetrable. Okay. Yeah, so like this part is very intriguing because even like I think, I don't know if you remember when I mentioned the Big Bang Theory like in the last class about the book. So if you start going digging in all these thoughts of creation, of who is who, I want to see God or something like that, you exactly go to this hole you're never gonna come out, you know?
Right.
That's why sometimes when I start thinking too much about it, I stop myself, because like, wait, you have so much to learn here, yet you have so much to discover about my own self or the people around me, my family, why the purpose of everybody here in this world, you know? That if I start questioning like these questions that I know that I'm not gonna have the answer right now, like there's no sense. I'll keep going, you know? So that's so much like related with the things I think about, like of creation, about what is God and everything else. Although sometimes I catch myself to doing. But every time I was like, oh, whoa, wait, I don't have the answers and nobody does. So come back here, you know, come back to Earth. Earth is calling, you know? That's my opinion about all this.
Why?
Yeah, I agree with that, what you said. I like this answer too.
Answer is awesome.
Very good. Don't go further. Why? Right?
Mm-hmm. It's dangerous.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way Kardec put those questions. Of course, this answer is from the spirits, not from him. But I remember, I think the first time that I started studying this book in Brazil, back in Brazil, and I remember this guy said, "Wait a second." So the spirit's saying that for us to stop to learn about God, stop to learn what is God? That's what you have to do. And if you go deep, you understand the way Kardec put those questions and the way that the spirits answered them. If you come back couple questions back, something, I'm not gonna go back, but when it says, if you one day will be able to penetrate the mysteries of God, and the spirits, yes, when the matter is no longer part of you. And then in the 14th, it says, don't waste your time for now, because you have something more important to do. So when it says study your own perfection so that you may shed them, it means the better you become, the more you're going to understand God. And that's related to understand the divide in one day. The matter means not the body itself, but everything that we are so attached right now. Because when you go deep and deep to understand things that is not related to us in general, but you have the courage to be a great science in the world, but not have the courage to look ourselves in the mirror and see our own imperfections and try to change it. You know why? And you guys going to see further in this book, because it's the hardest thing to do. It's easier to develop an iPhone, much easier than love each other. That's why you catch our time, our attention in, it says here, this will be more useful, far more useful. What is more useful? Trying to be better, try to understand our imperfections and be better and change them, to you then attempt to penetrate something that is impossible for now. And what is possible for now? Change ourselves. Simple like this. Boom. And
why don't you read the 15 then?
now I'm gonna put Samantha to read 15.
She just read it.
Let's do the whole thing again. Samantha, do you read 15? Oh, you just read it, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's your
No, Eloa just read it.
No, but Samantha did. Why not Jimmy?
Okay, Jimmy
Okay.
again. No, everybody already did, right? Yes. We come back to us.
I
You're
mean,
right.
I thought I was speaking
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's
the
me.
turns, but I guess she's speaking the turns.
You know better. You know better.
Yeah, I
Pedro.
know, right?
You can talk later. So 15. What about the concept that all of nature, beings, and words of the universe are parts of divinity, and they are in their eternity divided self? The pantheistic doctrine. So everybody know what it is, doctrine? Everybody knows? Put your hands. What is
I don't.
Pantheism? Okay, pantheism doctrine is a doctrine when people believes that God is everything in the universe. It's part of everything. So God is the sun, God is the star, God is the tree, God is the flower. God actually is the effect.
The
not
actual physical thing.
Kind of. It's they believe there is the energy as well, but they believe that in the sense what they believe that God is the effect, not the cause.
That is a part of the God of everything.
That is a part of a God of everything. So that's why the concept that Kardec explained the question 15 is what a pantheist doctrine believes. And that the concept that all of nature, beings, and worlds of the universe are parts of the divinity. And then the spirits. Human beings cannot be God. Upon recognizing this, they want to at least be a part of God. So, okay, I'm gonna jump on 16 because 16 is gonna explain this actually. It says human beings cannot be God. And then the 16 further, he's going to explain the concept of pantheism and why that's not possible.
So let's do the 16 then. Number 16. Those who support this doctrine claims to find some of God's attributes in it. As there are an infinite number of worlds, then God is infinite. As vacuum or nothingness, it's nowhere. God is everywhere. Since God is everywhere and everything is an integral part of God, God gives an intelligent purpose to all natural phenomena. How can we oppose this reasoning? So he explained the doctrine, and the final answer is, how can we oppose this? Then the answers of the God is awesome.
Wow, God's already.
The answers of the spirits. Reason. Think long and maturely about the assumption in question, and we will have no trouble finding it irrationally. If I was Kardec by there, I was like, oh, come on, because, you know, I'm still imperfect. And I was like, can you just give me the answer? But no, Kardec didn't give up. So Kardec did this thinking as the spirit asked him, and that's his comments. This doctrine makes God a material being who, despite being endowed with supreme intelligence, would only be a large-scale version of what we are, which is ridiculous. However, as matter is insanely transforming, God will have no stability if this theory was true. God would be subject to all the instabilities and needs of humanity. God will lack one of the essential attributes of divinity, the quality of being unchangeable. The properties of matter cannot be attributed to God without lowering divinity in our thoughts. And all the subtleties, that word, of sophism fail to solve the problems of God's essential nature. While we do not know all that God is, we know what God cannot be. And the theory stated above directly contradicts God's essential attributes. It mistakes the creator for the creature, as if one were to consider a clever machine to be a vital part of the engineer who's designed it. God, his intelligence is revealed in the work of creation. As an artist, in his or her canvas, God's works are no more part of God than the canvas is the artist who painted. So it's like, once again, self-explanatory. Who am I to say Kardec did a good job? But I'll say it anyways. Kardec did an amazing job. I'm going to use the example that Suellen gave it to me when I didn't understand this question, when we were doing the gospel at home. And this question came and I didn't understand. And she used a pretty good example. She is like, Steve Jobs created iPhone, but iPhone is not Steve Jobs. So that's the thing. I like another example of a bread machine. A bread machine can make bread, but a bread cannot make a bread machine. You know? So it's pretty much is. We misunderstood the creator with the creature.
I believe with this answer here, you can stop and every dot just to explain. So when Kardec made his research, because can you see the answer of the spirits? Reason. That's it. Think long and maturely about the assumption in question, this question 16, and you have no trouble finding irrationality. That's it. So just put your mind to think and see if it makes sense to say that God is a material thing, as the pantheons believe that. Because when you say God is in everything, it doesn't mean that it's God. That is a huge difference. and be something, and in being something, and to be there on that thing. So here with supreme would be a large scale version. So the way that this doctrine believes it's God is a large version of what we are. No, he's not us. First of all, he's much more. And the another part that I like of this answer, at the explanation actually, the unchangeable, yeah, God's unchangeable, but there's another thing. Yes, the unchangeable but not is the property of the American knowledge regarded without lowering dividing into our thoughts. All the subtle sophism the problem God's essential is not why we do not, this part, why we do not know all that God is, we know what God cannot be. We can, for now, to know all the attributes of God, it's impossible. But the basic, you already know. Unchangeable, unique, immutable, and everything. All those over here that you were talking about it. Supreme, just and good, unique, immaterial, unchangeable. There's all the things that we know. So we've... Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, the explanation that you gave to Tiago about the Steve Jobs, it's basically explained on the last paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
When it says that God's work is the canvas that he painted. I mean, the canvas is painted. That's his work. It's no more. It's just like the artist that paints that canvas. The artist is not the canvas. The artist is the artist. So I think that's a very good explanation as well about who is God. And we are what he created. He's not part of us, and we're not part of. I mean, we're part of him because he created us, but
he is part of us, but he's not us. There is a
difference. He's part of us because he created us.
He created, yes.
He painted the canvas, and we are the canvas.
And we are the canvas, but it's not the canvas exactly. He's the creator of the canvas.
I'm curious. In pantheism, they have different deities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering what Kardec's opinion would be of all that.
That's a good question. I have to ask.
They have different what?
Deities. Meaning, you know, like in the pagan religions, they had more of a focus on the god and goddess. They were actual deities. All different major religions have their own deity.
Yeah.
So I wonder what I don't know. I wonder what they would have to say.
I think
so. Pantheism is like a religion, or it's like a belief?
It's a belief, a religion, doctrine. So if you search about it, you're gonna see it.
I think it's just what you are trying to understand and what they were trying to do, which is not wrong. I mean, now we know it's wrong, but it's not mean. That's my point. They're not trying to be mean, but it's just how can God be God and I'm not part of God? I think that's what they're trying to realize. I understand that God, I'm the canvas, but how I'm not part of this whole process, because us as human beings, we always want to be part of the main unit, part that makes everything change. It's really hard for us because our huge egos to understand that we're just a canvas, Yes, we can do much, much more. Like a beautiful canvas in a museum can bring joy to whoever sees, can spark a bunch of different good feelings. Us as human beings, we can do the same, but we're not the painter, you know,
I
the
thi-
painters. But our ego's like, whoa, 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 what I mean, you know?
yeah, I think that's a great point that you make too, because um, panthe- pantheism, there's something that's comforting about it. At the same time, it can it can right it is wrong, in terms of logic, and it can actually even be dangerous in a way, because it's a backdoor to the idea of, well, I can be God.
Mm-hmm.
Because if everyone is God and everything is God and everything is part of God, then I can very easily go from that idea to slipping into solipsism, where it's like, well, yeah, I'm God. And if everything's God and my ego is God, then that's what like that's what counts, right? And that can lead to very bad things in practice, in terms of the actions of people, right? Because we do have to have humility. Yes, we can evolve, we can elevate, we can become more and more refined and more pure and more connected to God, but um, we're a creation. We will never be God. Um, you know, that's just a reality, and that doesn't mean that because that's true that we have to think that we're nothing, right? So it's like there's an extreme that is can come out of um, that idea of pantheism, that can be very, very dangerous, I think, in practice. you know
I think so. Thiago's explanation combine yours. It's so true, because this idea has its divine side, but as with all of our imperfections, literally that's the word, you can take advantage of that.
right, because I mean, there's plenty of cult leaders that'll be like, I am God and you are God, but I have realized that I am God, therefore I'm super God. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm. A
like
level,
I'm more God
I'm
than
more
you.
God than you.
exactly.
There,
It's like, oh yeah, yeah, you're God too, but I've really realized it.
I realize that.
You know,
there
I
have
can,
even been, yeah, there have even been dictators that did that.
yeah,
I
100%. So
I
it becomes very
remember I
dangerous.
remember in Haiti when Papa Duck was in power. He made an analogy. Would have signs, billboards, analogies to the Holy Spirit, and it would be they had a Christ, the Father, and then they had his Son, meaning that they were part of the Trinity, that they were part of the Trinity. It was ridiculous. These were dictators in Haiti years
Yeah, yeah, and they were Papa Doc was a horrific human being.
ago. Oh,
He
yeah.
disappeared. He disappeared so many people. That was responsible for so many murders and torturing of people and oppression of people. But hey, it's cool because he's God. You know,
And you know
and
what
that's where that
I
gets dangerous.
what I love about the answers and this enlightenment of the spirits, it's because they don't, like Rob said, they don't come to us through the spirit's book to tell us that we're meaningless. Actually, it's completely inverse. They also tell you that you're not God, but you guess what? You do have a huge responsibility on this life, on this planet. You have responsibility to become better,
Wasn't just
you
playing.
know. So I that's what I love it, like it's not that you're meaningless, like I said, but they also tell you that you have a responsibility, of become a better person, you know?
Yeah. So, in the whole chapter, the chapter 1, I think, is the one of the shortest ones. Believe it. Gonna be chapters much more longer than that and complex. But the whole thing, in my opinion, what I could understand from this chapter about God is intriguing because you want to go deep, you want to know more, and you go at like the questions you read the questions, you want to dig in more, and you ended up and which the 15, yeah, and the 14, when say just stop right there. That's all you're going to know. And much more important than that, God so far is that you can, you know, if use, of course, reason, think, questioning, intellectual way, but that's it. You don't know even yourself how you're going to understand the God. In a polite way, of course, they said that. But that's all I understand from this part. And it doesn't mean that we have to stop searching, but means that you have to focus on something that is really important. Because if you change for good, if you change for a better way of life, we are more humble, we are more charitable, and all those good things, that if we love more each other, then there's the thing, the better you become, the more you're going to know about God and spirituality in general. But believe me, that's just the beginning of this book. Somebody else on the
Well, so far, very interesting. We're not going to learn everything, but I think this is definitely, for me, it's very useful. If I can take one or two things from each class, I scored.
And apply it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying first I learned, then I'll start apply. Let's you know, be honest. Let's go slow.
Well, I think this is like you said, when you had the idea of studying this, these are basic things that we can at least get into a conversation with someone about simple things like that I never took the time to study even in Portuguese. So, like the canvas example, you know, I have my nephew now, he's in the military and he's very interested on the Wicca. He asked me to send him some books because he did have some experiences there. So this is something that interests me now, that I'm gonna read some more, because I have like 2 screens here, so I was actually Googling a little bit more about this pantheism, and I think I saw some similarities with the Wicca too. So it's definitely gonna open my mind. I mean, just like Haroldo said yesterday, you know, it's not just about the spiritism. You have to be open to everything, and there's good people everywhere. It's not just because they don't follow the spiritism. So I think this, especially doing it in English, is definitely going to help my vocabulary as well, to have some more deep conversations about this.
Yeah, and this is the point.
Jimmy, I saw you nodding, so we're probably going to have some stuff to talk about later, okay?
No, I was agreeing on what you were saying. I related to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about to convert of anything or anybody. It's just to open ourselves in a matter to learn and be better. That's it. You know, you can have your religions, your beliefs, and you don't need to change if you don't want to. But if you are an open person to learn, to listening more, as like Samantha said, good people are everywhere. You know, regardless their beliefs, religion, geographic area, those kind of things. That's why we study, to learn, to be open.
You guys want to do the final prayer so then I stop recording?
Yes. So we, of course, finish chapter 1. Then next week in 2 weeks, you're going to jump in chapter 2. That's going to be the knowledge of the first principle of things. Then it start being a little bit more complicated. So for in 2 weeks, because next week are going to be the gospel, and the following week are going to be the chapter 2 of the Spirit's book, but I'll send you guys a link. But keep in mind, you are going to start to study chapter 2. So start from there, from question 17. Okay, I'm not gonna say because I didn't even finish here. Just a sec. I have to finish. 17 to 35, 36. From 17, question 17 to 36. That's gonna be the whole chapter 2.
And Rob and Jim, you guys have the English version for that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the English version.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay, so can we do the final prayer? Is that okay? Who wants to do the final prayer since I did the beginning?
Nobody, come on.
Rob, I heard you do beautiful prayers.
He does, and it'll be like a voice from heaven because we don't see him.
Do this prayer so I can sleep with your voice and have beautiful dreams.
Observation.
All right. Here we go. Give thanks to God Almighty, the creator and the source of everything, and to all of the higher and elevated spirits that have brought us together, and in particular have united us this evening to study and to commune and to communicate and to better understand spirit and understand God. Help us to continue to remember and to be grateful for the blessings in life and the miracles of every day, and for the presence of our Creator in every moment that we live. So be it.
So be it.
Okay, guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you, everybody. Talk